Good morning. Today I'm doing a little experiment. I got my first comment yesterday, so I know people that I don't know are actually watching these. So that's a good thing. He noticed that my voice doesn't pick up too well on the camera. Um, I am planning on getting a mic because I have something wrong with my throat. I can't swallow very well, and I can't raise my voice without sounding angry. I moved the thing up closer to me, and I got Gigi in my lap. He's so cute. He's so comfy. Um, so yeah, we don't know exactly why my vocal cords don't work correctly. There's two theories on why I have, like I said, I have a metabolic disorder, and it is a metabolic growth disorder. We didn't think I had a growth disorder for a long time because though I am very short, I'm only 4'11", um, my proportions looked right. So they just figured I was short, and my mom was abusive and neglectful. So they figured I was short, and I was just because my dad's side is short, and my mom wasn't like feeding us enough. So which was a thing. Um, Also the other thing. Oh yeah, they discovered I had a metabolic disorder when I broke my foot a long time ago because they were trying to figure out how that happened because there was a lot of damage that shouldn't have been there. The initial doctor thought I'd actually been hit by a car, but there was no car. And then when they acknowledged the metabolic issues and found all these little growth deformities, they noticed that I'd had things like I don't have the little jiggy at the bottom of my rib cage, the thing that holds your rib cage together. There's supposed to be like a little jiggy that kind of looks like a little spear point, and I don't have that. And well, like I said, I was abused, so they thought maybe it snapped off at some point and kind of dissolved, because that can happen. Um, but then they discovered that my ankles are pointed down, not my ankles, but the bottom, my heel, yeah, the bone part of my heel is pointed down a little bit. So my feet really hurt when I wear heels. Since I don't wear heels, I mean, I'm not a terribly vain person, like you could probably tell because I forgot to brush my hair before I did this. So yeah, I don't really wear heels that much, and that explained why they hurt. But that's so one of the theories is that the metabolic disorder made it so that my vocal cords didn't grow correctly. The other theory is that since I was abused pretty badly and I was punched in the throat a few times and choked, strangled a few times, that it's possible that the abuse may have caused damage that we just didn't know about because my mom, being abusive, she didn't take us to the doctor anywhere near as much as we needed to go. And because she knew if we kept going to the ER, they'd come and take us. And I don't know why CPS didn't take us when my dad died. They should have. They honestly should have. They just kept claiming that nobody wanted us or something, which didn't make any sense. And then later on, I found out, I think it was only like 2 or 3 years ago, that I found out that I did have 2 or 3 relatives who were trying to get custody of us and had been trying to get custody of us the entire time because they knew my mom was abusing us, but they kept getting denied for some reason that doesn't really make any sense to me. But anyways, I do know that my voice does not carry very well, and I am planning on, when my financial stuff gets better, I am planning on getting like a microphone. Like you see the telemarketers with the little thing in front of their face. I'm thinking about getting something like that, um, so that I can make sure that my voice is coming through correctly. I do know that I want to get a better system, and I may even need to get a better computer for doing this at some point, but that stuff is like really expensive, so that's probably gonna be further down on the list of things that need to get done. Plus I don't have a real huge following. Um, I'm not even sure that I have a subscriber yet, but I am glad to see that somebody is watching. That's really good information. My son-in-law and my roommate do have channels, and my son might also, and they say it takes a really long time to even get a comment. So I've only been doing this a few weeks and I've already got somebody mentioning the voice thing. You also can probably tell that my voice is a little raspy. I don't know. I woke up and my throat's just things just aren't wanting to do what they're supposed to today, and I'm not sure what that is. I don't think I have a cold or anything. It's just with all the mess I got going on. I am a hot mess when it comes to physical issues. So I definitely somebody that people question my ability to stay alive. I have no idea. And in the US, they don't really, the US medical system's kind of strange. They don't really acknowledge certain things like metabolic disorders like they probably should. Oh, yeah, I gotta adjust him because my leg was falling asleep. And yeah, they don't really acknowledge a lot of things because in the US, it seems like doctors just kind of want you to, here's a pill, go away, or have some quick fix. Like if you had a broken leg, you'd probably get better treatment than somebody like me who has chronic health issues. And I know part of the problem is bad genetics with me, and part of it is that I was born prematurely to drug addicts in the 70s. So it's a sheer miracle that I actually survived my first couple years um, at all. And now I'm like 48 and I shouldn't be. So yeah, this is fun. um, yeah, he's grumpy. Um, but yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to make my life better and maybe give people advice for their lives to be better. And I know that it does differ from country to country because some areas like people have suggested that I go to Italy and try to figure out what my metabolic disorder is because apparently there's some clinic there that like specializes in metabolic disorders, and they've apparently found all these like thousands of metabolic disorders that aren't even acknowledged in the US. So, because like I said, in the US, the doctor system tends to be more of a quick fix system. If you can take a pill and it gets better, or they can do a surgery or set a bone, that's the kind of stuff they want to do. They don't really want to do a lot of this, like, okay, let's mess around and figure out what's going on. And, you know, it's like some doctors won't treat pain at all, which is fine for me because I'm trying to do I'm trying to do my thing pain med free as possible, which I can't be 100% med free. Um, but I don't like the way the painkillers make me feel because I noticed I have fibromyalgia, I have autoimmune issues, and I have a metabolic disorder. So I'm discovering that when I go into the doctor, they want to just give me a pill, and then it causes either makes the situation worse or causes some other problem. And my son, who actually has a psych degree, he got his associates but hasn't gone back to get any of the rest of them. He's autistic, so that's probably why. Says that like with the albuterol incident, that I probably don't actually have asthma. They keep saying I do, but we he thinks that my bronchial tubes are actually malformed, and I have been told that my bronchial tubes are malformed, and that there's a lot of scar tissue from getting sick a lot when I was a kid, and that may also have something to do with why I can't raise my voice or why it sounds like this sometimes. Yeah, it's difficult to try to explain people what's going on with me because there's just so much going on with me. Um, and sometimes I just feel like I'm a much older person than I am. Uh, but that's kind of part of the reason why I want to do this because I'm trying do to like create a community of people who are like me who aren't necessarily um we're not dying or anything kind of thing, but we just need to try to figure out if there's something that we can do other than go to a doctor, because I know like I said in the US they kind of blow you off, especially if you've got something like fibromyalgia. And like with my metabolic disorder, half the time when I go in for treatment for something, they don't even want to acknowledge it. I mean, my last surgery, they tried to make excuses for something I warned them about, and then um because the first time I had a surgery, I overslept and it freaked everybody out. Um, but this second time, apparently, because I warned them that that happens, that they're not overdosing me, I just overreact, that they should be careful though, because I do overreact to medications. Apparently I did sleep a little longer than they expected, but because I had known about it that time and warned them about it, they weren't as upset about it, but they still kind of were asking me weird questions and like they can't accept that I just don't have an appendix. Some people don't. We don't even know what the appendix is actually for. It's just one of those things that we have. Maybe we needed it before and we don't need it now. It's like a, but it tends to burst in a lot of people. So yeah, that's a thing. Um, but I don't have an appendix. I don't know if it burst when I was a kid and I somehow survived it, or um, if I just never had one. It sounds like I just never had one, which does happen. I don't know the rates on that, but I know that it does happen. Um, and uh, yeah, I think I lost my train of thought. Anywho, yeah, so oh yeah, that's the talking about the doctors. Yeah, and it's I know that it's difficult for a lot of people because a lot of doctors are like this or even worse. I've had a few doctors that I've immediately changed because I walk into the office and start telling them my medical history, and they look at me and go, "Ugh, you're a hypochondriac," and I just walk out. I'm not a hypochondriac. I'm not making this up. They've actually discovered that there is something wrong with people who have fibromyalgia. They just don't know what it means. I'd actually love to get involved with an actual medical study as to why this happens because I think the metabolic disorder may actually have something to do with it, or just like some of the things that I've experienced in life might have to do with it. I've had, like I said, I was abused very badly when I was a child. I've just kind of given up on dating because I have had nothing but abusive relationships. I don't know if I've got like victim on my forehead and I don't know it, or if people just see a small person and think, oh, I can take advantage of them. And then they start trying, and I'm like, no. Um, because you hear about short people being feisty. We have to be, or people will just run us over. Um, I don't have a problem getting on the furniture to chew somebody out for being inappropriate with me, and I guess some people don't like that, and that's just how it is. Hi, Gigi, you coming back? But yeah, so I kind of want to have a community for people who have experienced those type of things. Like I know in some areas in Europe the doctors are better, but I still hear places like in England that I'd recently watched something about a girl whose tummy just kept getting bigger and bigger in England, and the doctor just kept blowing it off and saying she was fat or something, and then she went in and found out she had a massive tumor the doctor was completely ignoring. It was just ridiculous. So I know there's people all over the place that either can't get to a doctor or can't, or the doctors are like, oh, I'm gonna be ridiculous. Ugh. So yeah, there are things in place that's malpractice stuff in place in almost every country that I'm aware of. There may not be so much in some third world countries because I know in some of those places they don't even have electricity, so probably not going to see a lot of people from those areas. But it would be nice if I could build up a community, at least in the United States and Canada, where we can talk about things that we can or can't do, what, like the healthier living, learning what your body's telling you because your body does tell you things. I get cravings all the time, and the doctors are always that I need, but the doctors are always like talking about cravings being signs of addictions. It can be if you're craving things like salt and sugar almost constantly, then you might have an addiction or to salt or sugar, because apparently that can happen. A food addiction. I know weird stuff. America has a lot of weird stuff going on, especially right now. As you could probably tell by my previous videos where I was talking about the school shootings. I mean, I don't know if that's happening anywhere else, but it's happening here. It's been happening here for a long time, and I don't know why people think it's cool to shoot kids. I mean, I'll never understand that one. I'll never ever understand that one. But there's just like to like help people to understand what their body's telling them and talk about things like how hard it is to change a lifestyle. And because I do know that a lot of people have issues with the whole weight management thing. They believe that they're being weight shamed, and in some cases that might be true, but in other cases it's might be the doctor being truly concerned that your weight may be contributing to your health issues. Um, and So losing weight is probably, if the doctor's telling you to lose or gain weight, you might want to try that if you can. Um, and if you can't gain weight, then you just have to make sure the doctor knows that, I can't gain weight. And that might be a signal, a sign, a symptom of whatever is going on there. But yeah, that like in America, it's just weird. The doctors, the way that some people are, I don't know. I try not to go to the doctor very often because they're always trying to get me to take all these medicines. And the last couple times I've been to doctor, they've tried to tell me my cholesterol's high, and I looked it up, and it's not. It's not considered dangerous. And at the time that my cholesterol was high, I was experiencing an issue with my thyroid, and I'd found out that if your thyroid is acting up, it can affect a lot of different things in your body. So whatever was going on with my thyroid seems to have corrected itself somehow. And I have dropped down to a healthier weight. I think I'm 136, which is still a little floofy for me. Um, but and that's 136. It's floofy for me because I am short and light framed. Um, if you're like five something and you're 136, you might actually be underweight. So yeah. So like if you're 5'5", 5'6", and you're 136, you're probably a little bit underweight, or right about where you should be. I mentioned that because in high school I weighed like 93 pounds or 95 pounds or something like that, and I was considered to be underweight. And every time I'd mention my weight, these girls would be like, "Oh my God, I gotta lose weight. I'm like 120 pounds," and no, they were like 6 or 8 inches taller than me, and I'm like, "No, you're not overweight." Um, and then like, so I used to hate hearing that. Oh my goodness. So I just stopped telling people how much I weighed. Just let them assume that I was over 100 pounds when I wasn't. Um, that's when I was younger, and then I had my kids, and I didn't have to worry about being underweight ever again. That happens to a lot of people. Um, but yeah, I kind of want to build my community, and now that I know that people are watching, um, or at least someone's watching, I'd like to be able to try to get some subscribers and maybe uh, some requests for things that people might want to look at. Because even if I don't know um, much about your situation, if I have appropriate spelling, because some of these things have words you can't pronounce, if I have appropriate spelling, I can look into it and then get some advice to you. Because there's lots of stuff that you can find out about medical things, and uh, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm a real big proponent for diet and exercise. I'm not big on medications or drugs for treating um, just chronic pain, especially when it's something like fibro, when there really isn't anything actually wrong with you. I mean, you're not injured kind of thing. It's something to do with the way the signals are going from your brain into your body. And that could actually be damage, but it's nerve damage is very difficult to treat, and oftenly, sadly, doesn't go away, as I'm finding out with my spinal cord as I'm getting closer to the 5 years of the injury and realizing that it's not going to heal. Just thankful that I don't need surgery and I can still walk, mostly. I limp pretty badly and people look at me funny, but hey, I still do it. Um, but yeah, there's all kinds of topics that I can either talk to you about from my experience and get other people to give feedback. Um, and like I said, if you want to talk about something I don't know anything about, we can look it up. Um, I just wanted to keep this as positive and empowering as it can be, because disabled people, especially in the US, we get a bad shake and people don't always treat us real well, and especially if we got something that people can't see, they tend to be real funny about it. And so I kind of want to make a safe place for people who can't function like other people want them to be able to communicate with other people who have the same or similar conditions and be able to get some better advice, especially if doctor's treatments aren't working, which is a really common thing with fibro. And I really would like to see a fibro study where they actually try to figure out what's going on with some of us, because the interesting thing is I've noticed that a lot of us who have fibro, especially the type that I have, where it started when I was really young. Mine started around the time my dad died. We just didn't know what it was until I was 27. Um, um, and then they still haven't, it's been like 21 years, they still haven't really done anything to try to figure out why. Um, I have noticed that quite a few of us have things like abusive backgrounds. I mean, like child being abused at some point in our lives. So the high stress of the abuseful situation could have triggered it. Something about the way we were being abused could have triggered it. And then a lot of us also have metabolic disorders or just systems that don't work properly. So I'm thinking it's something in there, definitely genetic, but it's hard to find a doctor that'll actually want to treat it as at all, let alone acknowledge that the fibro could be a symptom of something and not a separate condition. Because I really do think that my fibro is a symptom of maybe the metabolic disorder, which could also have something to do with my autoimmune and some other stuff that's going on. Um, yeah, sweet kitty. But yeah, that's where I'm thinking. So like I said, if you like what I'm doing and you want to do some topics, because I think I need 1,000 subscribers so that I can do lives. Because it won't let me do live. It won't. Gigi, you little stinker. He's so weird. It won't let me do live videos unless I have I think it said 1,000 people following me. Subscribers. So if you like what I'm trying to do, have some good ideas for what we can do with this channel, hit the subscribe, the like, subscribe, and the bell, and then we'll do good things. So I'm gonna head out and start doing stuff that needs to get done, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.